Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Vid Productions presentation. I am Vinny, your host, also known as BNSF6951 and also known as Cousin Vinny. If you guys like watching rail fanning videos or run-off sessions on my layout that's sitting behind me, scratch builds, or live streams, then please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And after you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell. This way you'll get notified every time I upload a video or a live stream. And I wouldn't mind you giving me a couple of those also. Anyhow, with all that being said, let's get on with the video. This Vinny Vid Production video brought to you by Yankee Dabbler. Don't forget the 5% discount code BNSF6951. Alright guys and gals, it's been 2 months in the making. This is the final video for the engine house build for redbirdtony 2010. So, if you guys want to see how I got to that, right there, watch the entire video. Coming up right now. Alright guys, I'm going to try and show you how this is going to work. I have this sitting on my lap right now, and I also changed the position of the camera. Anyhow, let's see if we can get this to work. I mean, just to show you guys, I just wanted to show you guys how this is all done. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and put the first sill molding on this one, if I can keep it from falling. And let's see, let me get some glue going here. I always kind of like prime my glue. It sounds funny, but I always do it on a piece of either paper or cardboard or something like that, just so I don't get a big blob. But anyhow, when you do a project like this, always go towards the opening of the project. Never go away from it, because that gives you the chance of glue moving down. So what I'm going to do here, hopefully, you just kind of give it a couple of taps of glue right here. And I should be using tweezers, but I think I could do it better just with my hands. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. I know my hands are in the way probably. And I would just stick them down like that. And then we'll just eyeball it to make sure it's straight. I think this little extra detail is pretty cool. Let's see, that doesn't look very straight. Just have to look at it from different angles. Alright, well that looks pretty good. Only 9 more to do. And I cut them so that they're even with the edges. I guess you can see that. Yeah, it does look pretty good right there. Alright, well, like I said, because this is such a hard thing to do and show you guys, you saw how I did the first one, the rest of them will be exactly the same. So with all that being said, we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, I'm going to show you how I adapted and overcame my problem with the windows. What I did was I put them on these little clamps and held them off like that. Then I put my stuff in there, this clear plastic glue. Just did it on one side and just let it sit like that. Then every once in a while I would take this and move it to the opposite side and do the same thing, so it flows evenly throughout the entire window. And as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but we have a nice little shine on that window right there. So it's looking good. So the window problem has been taken care of. Thank you, Lord. Anyhow, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and continue on with the rest of the video. Be back shortly. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got these the large windows done. You can see the reflection off the light on the glazing. Even the one that I cleaned up came out pretty good. So the ones that are the worst ones out of the bunch will go towards the back of the building where you won't see it. Also, I got the little windows done also. And how I did it was, instead of laying it flat, I just laid it like that. And as you can see, there's some puddles down there, and I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of those, but I will try. Anyhow, all the windows are done. And most of the window sills are done. So now, with all that being said, let's see what the next project is going to be. Be back in a little bit. Alright guys, I ran into a little bit of a catastrophe with this build. As you can see here, versus here. This color is lighter. I had to do some touch up on here, so I masked everything off and sprayed it with the exact same color I used on this side, but it came out like 10 shades lighter. So my options was either to take all of these steel structure out or mask them all, and as you can see, that's what I'm doing. I am masking them all. So without further ado, I'm going to complete doing all of this, and I'll spray the inside. I also have to mask off the entire outside so I don't get no overspray through the window holes when I start painting this. Anyhow, with that being said, I will continue masking this, and I'll bring you back after it's all painted up and looking pretty again. Alright, be back shortly. Alright guys, 2 hours later, and I've got all my stanchions all masked off, as you can see right there. Now I need to do the entire outside so I don't get any overspray when I do the inside, when I redo the inside. It really sucks that the same can of paint gave me two different colors. I mean, that's really stupid if you ask me. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and do the outside. I'll bring it back when that's done, and then we'll go ahead and shoot this with some paint. Be right back. Alright guys, as you can see, I now have the outside all masked off. And so the next step is going to be go ahead and spray the inside of this building again. And I hope it works out to be at least a good color and consistent with the rest of it. Anyhow, I'm going to get ready to be watching my premiere video, which is going to be in about 10 minutes. So with that being said, I will see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, it looks like we're back to square one again now. Everything is all painted up inside, looking nice and pretty. Now I do notice that I do have some defects on some of the stanchions that are in here, and I'm going to try to touch those out. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take the spray can and I'm going to spray it into a little container and use a paintbrush just to touch up some of this marks that are on here. Anyhow, now that that's all done, as you can see, I've got a couple of the doors in there on this side and that side. The windows won't go until very last. But what we're going to do now is we're going to put the trim pieces or the mechanical door housings on top of the doors at this point. So let me get that ready and we'll start on that. Be right back. Alright, next on the agenda is to do these guys. Now this is a half round that I painted metallic silver, which comes out of a rattle can. But I noticed on the back of these, they are kind of like concave in here, so I'm going to have to smooth this down a bit, just so the glue, I don't have to use too much glue in there. Anyhow, with all that being said, I'm just going to take it and run it across my sanding stick here, or emery board, or whatever you want. I think this side might be better. I need to get some new ones of these. And I have to do this in order for them to sit flat and so they don't take up too much glue. It doesn't take very much to get them smoothed out. This one's pretty much done right now. Alright, I'm going to do the rest of these and I'm going to go ahead and install these on the building and I'll show you what they look like when they get done. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, I have one more detail that I'm going to put on the outside, but it's being it's in paint right now, it's drying up. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to show you that I will be adding these stanchions inside of here to hold up the I-beam that I used. I originally was going to use open web trusses, but I would have had to make the building taller, and if I made it taller, that means I would have had it made longer and wider. So I know Tony's limitations as far as the space he's got available. That's why I went with the I-beams. But anyhow, to support the I-beams, I'm going to go ahead and put these H-columns in here. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this, I think this is 1/8" tubing right here, and it slips right onto. You can see that right there, and you can see that right there, and basically it just goes right in like that, and then you have a stanchion with a concrete footing. These are 2 feet by 2 feet, 2 scale feet by 2 scale feet. So while I'm waiting for this other thing to dry, I'm going to try and put this in here because the foundation has to be in place for me to do this, and I'm not really ready to secure the foundation to the building yet. I want to put all the windows in first before I do that. Anyhow, with that being said, let's see how we can work this out. Be back shortly. Alright guys, I said I have one more piece of detail to put on the outside. I'm going to show you what that is right now. If I could tilt it over like that. But you can see there is an electrical box, an electrical cabinet, and I have the conduit coming in from the top. Now I'm not going to put this on. I'm going to leave this off because I think when I pack this, it's only going to poke through all the packing I got. So I'm going to include this in the kit. All it is a piece of piano wire. I don't remember the size of it. I guess I can measure it real quick. Let's see what it is in diameter. Let's see, let's go to millimeters. Okay. Alright, well, I don't know if you guys are going to see this, but this is actually 0.4 of a millimeter, 4/10 of a millimeter. And I'm pushing on it, that's why it's changing. But yeah, 0.6 millimeters. So yeah, so that's the size of it. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just going to include it in the package with when I ship this to him. I will mount this part though, just so you guys can see that. So I got the electrical meter and the electrical box, so the conduit will come in from the top, make all its connections inside the box, then go into the building and distribute it however it needs to get distributed. Anyhow, I'm not going to do all that detail on the inside. Alright guys, now we move on to the next section of Tony's build, which would be the roof sections. And as you can see, I've got the two front and rear roof and the main roof here. And what I'm going to do is make this a steel panel roof. And I have spaced these out at 8 feet sections, and I know that's not prototypical, but to save material, that's what I did. And as you can see here, I've got all of these cut out, and what I'm using for those pieces, for the ribs, is this number 110 evergreen product. It's what's the size on this? It's 15 thousandths by 20 thousandths, or 0.4 millimeters by 0.5 millimeters. Anyhow, with all that being said, what we're going to do next is I am actually going to put grooves on all the lines, and the reason why I do that is so it's less sloppy with the glue. I noticed that on the very first time I bought the evergreen roof product, that's what they had. They had grooves in there just so the glue has a place to follow. Anyhow, with that being said, let me move all of this stuff off here and we'll go ahead and start grooving this out. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, all my grooves are cut in there now, and I'll be doing the same thing for the two end roots, but I will not be doing that on camera, only to save some time as far as video is concerned. But anyhow, we're ready to start putting these pieces in, and I already have them pre-cut, and I always make them a little bit long. It just saves time on measuring everything. So with my glue of choice, which is the Model Masters, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play with this a little bit and start putting these in here. So I still have my support underneath, and let's see, I'm going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to prime my glue. There you go. And like I said, it's just don't leave a big blob when you're going to first use it. So you just take that, and the trick is to run it kind of fast down. Now these are wider than they are taller, so put the wide end down, like so. Get it as straight as you can, because these here are skinny and they will sometimes not be exactly straight. So you have to kind of like coax them into position. So that's number one. And we'll go ahead and continue with this. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got one half of this roof done. I'm not going to do the other half on camera, again, just not to have too much video time, because this is probably going to be the reveal and I want to get everything done in this video. Anyhow, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and continue on this side, and I'll bring you back when this is totally finished. So stay tuned, I will be back shortly. Alright guys, what you're looking at now is the 3 completed roof sections. As you can see, they all look pretty good. I painted them on the outside, and I also painted them on the inside, all 3 pieces. And what I used for the outside was this Rust-Oleum metallic aluminum. And what I used for the inside was this True Value brand tan beige paint. It's a True Value product, I believe. This is only like $2.89. So yeah, so cheap is my word of the day. Then I also did a dull coat on this. Now when I say dull coat, guys, I mean actually a flat crystal clear, and it's a Krylon product. Now my question is, and of course this is not a dull coat, but the dull coat comes in a can this size, and this is 3 ounces. When you can buy this at 11 ounces for half the price that this costs. This costs almost $7, I think, and this costs just under $4. So the choice is yours as far as what you want to do. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and do a review of everything I've got done so far in this build, and then we'll continue on from there. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, this is going to be a review of what I've done so far. And I just showed you the roof sections. Now I'll show you the floor or the foundation for this build. And as you can see, I've got all my yellow striping on there. I added some cracks. I don't know if you guys will be able to see the cracks in there. There's one there, so on and so forth. I also enhanced on the joint lines. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the windows. I decided to do 10 new windows rather than trying to repair the ones that I messed up with earlier. And as you can see, these are all pretty much done, so I just need to get installed. Now for the building itself, make sure, because I just found this piece here. All my pilasters are on. Yes sir, okay. Alright, so on the building itself, we got all the pilasters like I told you I was going to do. We got all the window sills on here as I told you I was going to do. We've got the electrical meter down here, and I'm going to add these 2 pieces so Tony can go ahead and put those on however he likes to. Then we're going to move up to here, and thanks to John Tanzillo, let me back this out a bit. Thanks to John Tanzillo, that made me the roof sections here. Came out really, really good. And let's see, we'll just shoot this in the bottom. And then on the interior, as you can see, I got all my steel work. These are all H columns in here. My little triangle gussets that I put into here, so on and so forth. Anyhow, what else I got to show you here as far as what we've done so far? Let's see, the roof, trusses, interior, steel work, electrical meter. Alright, so anyhow, there's not very much more for me to do on this build except start putting stuff together, and then it'll be the reveal. Oh, and I need to show you what I did with the crane so far. Let's see, I think I will show you that now also. I told you in the beginning when I was going to do this crane that it was going to be a Vinnie built manufactured crane, and it would not be a typical yellow. So what I did was I painted the crane blue with a black working piece up here, 2 pieces of code 55 track that makes this slide pretty, and also the main part of this is when I turn this around, look at that. It's got my logo on there. Anyhow, that's all for the crane right now. I still need to do this part, you know, get the cable in there and so on and so forth. with the hook at the bottom. Anyhow, we'll continue on with this, and we'll see where else we're going to go from here. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, when I showed you what I have completed so far yesterday, I forgot to show you that I have done the overhead door covers or mechanisms or whatever you want to call it. But as we move on now, I have all the windows installed. You got the 3 up here, and you got the 4 on this side, and you got the 4. Now this is the back side, so I put the 2 worst lower windows back here since you're not going to see it. And I'm just going to say that this is just a dirty window. And more windows up here at the top, and then of course the 3 up on top here. So with that being said, we need to move on to the next part of this video, and that is going to be dressing up these here gussets, these here stanchions with some gussets. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this scrap piece of plastic, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see the drawing on there, but I'm just going to make little squares and cut it in 45s, and this is what I am going to wind up with. Something like that. So when I put this in there, it'll look like it's supporting more of the steel than just the stanchion. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and finish these guys off. I got 2 of them done right now. As you can see, here's the second one. And of course they're going to get painted. So I'm just going to go ahead and do these 2, and basically almost lost that one. Basically I'm just going to freelance the cut on these, just because it'd be a lot easier for me to do it that way. So again, always make sure you got a sharp blade in your knife. And what I'll do is I'll start with this one here, and I'll just gently follow my line, and once I get the first groove in there, I can start digging into it. And we'll go one more this way, and then we'll just take the diag, and we'll just go from corner to corner. And same thing, a light cut the first time, and then dig into it on the second, third, and fourth passes. Alright, and here we go, a little further. And we're almost through, and there we go. And now we'll just cut the length, and I'll probably have to trim this. That's okay. It's just an extra little detail that I put into, whenever I can, I put a little extra into my builds, just so the client is happy with the build when he gets it. Let's see, is that going to come out? Oh, I didn't do this guy. Or did I? I did, but I didn't do enough. Alright, you get the general idea of what I'm going to do here. That should break off now, and it does. And this should break this way, and it does. Okay, now I got my 2 triangles. Actually, one is bigger than the other, but that's okay. You're not going to see it because it's going to be up on the top. Now, again, gluing on paint usually never works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to scrape some of the glue away. Some of the paint, sorry. And it's funny, when I don't want the paint to chip, it chips, and when I want to scrape it, it's not scraping very well. Anyhow, so basically we're winding down this build. We should be done here pretty quick. Alright, once that's done, we'll grab my glue, and we'll put a dab of Duya in here. Time for me to buy a new bottle of glue, I think. And we'll just take one of these triangles, and I'm putting it in the web part of this because it fits perfectly in there. I may have to change. I may have to do a different one for this. I'm not happy with that being as small as it is. So, and we'll just stand this up straight so it's not leaning one way or the other. And I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more cuts here. because I didn't like this. This one came out too small. Anyhow, you guys get the idea, so I'll bring you back when all 4 of these are done. There is 4 of them. And we'll go from there. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a bit. Alright guys, what you're looking at now is the stanchions that will help support the I-beams that I use for the crane support. They are not, the stanchions are not glued into the footing, so I can take them out and do whatever I have to do if I have to make any adjustments, which I do have to make adjustments because these two right here are a bit tall. When I put the building on it, I'll show you how that's going to look. I'll put the building on here. And you can see, let's see, let me get it where it's supposed to be. You can see all of that movement right there. And that's because it's not sitting all the way down as far as it could. So anyhow, I'm going to take those out, and I'm just going to go ahead and sand down the bottom a little bit, and well, hopefully it fits. So we just go ahead and pull that out, and we'll just get my sanding stick here. And it's not going to take much. It's not that much taller than everything else, but just a couple of strokes here, and that should be good enough. And I don't think I'm going to glue these in, just because I don't have to. And also, I will straighten them out as I glue them in. So let's see, we'll pull this guy up, and we'll go ahead and do him down a bit, and put him back in. There you go. And let's see if that made any kind of a difference. Oh yeah, way better. Way better, my friends. Alright, so basically you're getting a partial review or reveal on this, the way it's going to look. But anyhow, I got a few more things to do, and we're winding this down. We're getting really close to the end now. So I hope you guys stay tuned and follow along and watch the rest of this video. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next step here, and I always kind of do a little bit of weathering on my rooftops and maybe some other areas in the build, but I just want to show you how much I don't do weathering, because it's not my forte and I always mess stuff up. So, or I think I mess stuff up, let's put it that way. Anyhow, I bought these weathering powders about 6 years ago, and you can see that there's still pretty much a lot of stuff in there. Now there is a fourth one someplace, I don't know where exactly it is, it might be on my layout somewhere. But the one I use the most is this rust color, and then when I do my streets and stuff, I use the dark gray. It gives a nice tone to the road. Anyhow, as you can see right here, I've got some laid out on some plastic, and I already did this section right here. And I don't do a lot. I just enough to make it look a little bit dirty. So anyhow, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit heavier on the seams here, just to give a little bit more profile. And basically that's all I do, just run it down. Now I'm not going to do all of them, just a few, just to break up the monotony of all the silver that's going on here. See, I always think I put too much on, and I just try and feather it in. And if I don't like it, I guess I could just use some water and wash it off. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and continue with the rest of these, and we'll see how this all turns out. Anyhow, be back in a few. Alright guys and gals, before we get on to the final reveal of this build for a redbirdtony, I just want to say a few things. This was, to say the least, a very exciting build with all the surprises that were popping up. But I stuck to my motto, which is adapt and overcome, and I did just that. I'm not really happy how some of this stuff came out, so I don't consider this to be one of my AAA builds. I'm going to give this probably an A+. Anyhow, I hope Tony enjoys it and has it on his layout and has at least a few years of service out of it, which I think he will. It's pretty sturdy without all the other stuff that's inside, you know, without the roof trusses and all of that stuff. It's pretty not too wobbly, as I would call it. Anyhow, I would also like to thank everybody who has been watching the 5-part series so far. Thank you for all your support and all your comments and all that kind of stuff, and I hope the same holds true with this video right now. Anyhow, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on to the final reveal. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, this is going to be a 360 view of this build. I just want to show you everything that has been done. What you're looking at right now is the backside, and I'm going to show you the one bad window is this one right here. And as you can see, it's pretty frosty and dirty and stuff like that, but I figure we can attribute that to just dirty windows. And then that's the other one that was a failure, but you can see I got him working a little bit better, but you can, oops, sorry about that. Zoom in slowly, Vincent. And yeah, you can see the broke mulons or whatever they're called, right hand side, about the third window down. Anyhow, that's the back side. And we'll go ahead and spin this around. And here is the drive-through door. And as you can see, I did add my pilasters, I did my roof sections, and I added a couple of stacks on top of there just to give it a little bit more detail. And we'll come around to the side that will be facing the aisle in Tony's layout. And as you saw as I was spinning that, the glare off the windows. So what I want to do is I want to zoom in here, and I want you guys to see something. I decided I'm not going to mess with it any further, but a couple of these upper windows, if you look down here in the corner, you can see that there's a pane missing. Well, that happened on several of those, and I'm just going to say that, hey, somebody threw a bottle or a rock through there and broke the window. Anyhow, I got all my people doors in there, and down here on this corner, I will go ahead and bring this in. Oops. There we go. You can see I got the electrical meter and the electrical box. I put a foundation down here at the bottom, and we're sitting on a concrete pad, if you want to call it that. Alright, now we move around to the front side, and there's your 3 openings. Now these doors are 22 feet high. I don't want to make it higher than that because I don't think it's prototypical to have a door that high. I'm not sure. But anyhow, I'm going to leave them at that, and we did test it with some Unitrack, and the locomotives will go in there with very, very little clearance up here on the top. So Tony, you're good. You don't have to make any kind of modification to that. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and spin back to this side, and you can see we're back to starting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and raise the camera up a bit, and we're going to take a look at what it looks like on the inside. So let's see. Where is my lock? Oh, right here. Okay. Alright. And we'll bring this up a little higher. Oops. And we'll lock him down. Alright. So now, Tony has the option of showing this the way it sits right now, or he can take the roofs off, all 3 of them, and he can show off all the truss work that John Tanzillo did for me. And we'll go ahead and spin this around so we get that back one off. We'll take him off. And now, as you can see, let me get a little closer here, all the truss work that John Tanzillo did for me, and I really appreciate his work. Anyhow, that's the second way he could show this on his layout. And then finally, the third way he can show that is to go ahead and take all of these trusses out, which will then expose the crane. But I want to get this all the way around because there's something on the crane I want to show you guys. So we'll go ahead and spin this around, and I'll slide the crane back a little bit. Oops. And Tony, you need to remember that this is just plastic on metal, so it's not going to go as freely as you think it might. But anyhow, we get back down here, and as you can see, I've got my stanchions in here to support the I-beam that's holding up the crane. And let's bring this around a little bit more. And that's what I want to show you guys right there. this cream has got my logo on it. Anyhow, you can see all the steel work that I did in there, and odds are that one of two ways that Tony's going to show this build is either with the truss work in there or no truss work in there, just to show the locomotives. Anyhow, I'm going to cut this off right here, and I'm going to set this up with some locomotives in there so you can see exactly what it's going to look like. So stay tuned, I will be back shortly. Alright guys, before I get on to showing this engine house with the locomotives in it, I want Tony to know that this box will also be in the package. It's a special gift only because I feel that this build is not up to my AAA build. So I mean, there was a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of stuff on here that Tony might or might not see. I do because I built it. But anyhow, these guys right here are going to be your electrical conduit. I'm just going to put them in here for you in case you don't have any piano wire. You can use that. There'd be a two special gifts inside of here, and I also am going to take care of the shipping for you. So anyhow, let's get on with the rest of this. Alright guys, as you can see, this is how it's going to look when he's got it on his layout, and he's got some locomotives sitting in there. Each one of these two stalls can hold at least 2 SD40s and maybe one SD40 and maybe a Jeep SD70, which I don't think he has on his layout, and a couple of Jeeps in there. And this would be his drive-through track. As you can see back there's the track coming out. My guess is that he's going to leave it just the way you see it, with all the roof sections off so you can see inside there, and I would do the same thing if this was going on my layout. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this 6-part series on the build for RedbirdTony 2010. So I hope to get this out in the next day or so he can do a reveal on it on his On Track Tuesday. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video, and as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNS at 6951 and Cousin Vinny out.